Welcome to Breastfeeding is Natural, the podcast for health-conscious moms navigating the beautiful chaos of motherhood, one gentle step at a time. I'm Nadine Davandi, a certified breastfeeding and lactation counselor, advocate for gentle parenting, and passionate supporter of natural remedies and traditional nutrition. Here, we will dive into expert tips for breastfeeding, practical advice for gentle parenting, solutions for everyday mom life struggles, and natural ways to support you and your baby. So grab your favorite drink, take a deep breath, and join me on this journey thriving in motherhood. Let's get started. Hello everyone, I'm back. I'm later than I expected I would be back here, but yeah, I'm sorry if I kept you waiting. But I don't know what was going on. Life is busy, and you know that out there. I know all the moms of you. Life is always so busy. If you have a toddler, they keep you up on your toes. And then if you try to do other stuff, for example, I got a beautiful opportunity to make my first online course about vitamin D actually, and yeah, I took on this opportunity, but of course it comes again with a lot of work, like doing a podcast. You won't believe, this is my third try to record this episode because the other two tries it didn't work out like I had planned. I don't know why, but I was not in the mood. I was not in the right headspace, I think. So now I'm here. Now I'm back. And this time it will work. At least I will make it work. And you bear with me. If, it is not perfect, please bear with me. Because, I'm just getting started. And I'm that kind of person who likes to do things perfectly right from the get-go. And on the one side, I know it won't happen. And it's not, something that maybe will ever happen. But on the other side, I just like to do things. So let's get into the topic for today. The topic for today is breast refusal. And when I talk about breast refusal, I'm talking about nipple confusion or bottle preference. And let me get into it right away. And nipple confusion or bottle preference is what the name says. Your child is basically confused and doesn't know anymore how to use your breast, how to empty efficiently your breast. That's basically a nipple confusion. And a bottle preference is when your child obviously prefers the bottle because you feed your child with a bottle regular and they start to enjoy the flow of the bottle way more and can't empty your breast anymore. That's what happens usually. So, but I will get real deep in this episode. Why does breast refusal happen and how is it different from weaning? Because some people might think, oh, my child is weaning right now, but your child is not weaning. The natural weaning age is between 2.5 years and 7 years. 7 years. 2.5. I read about parents who tell me or tell other people that their child is already weaning with 6, or the child loves food more than breast. That's not happening. Usually it is happening because something is going wrong, and it is due to artificial suckers like bottles, or if you use a nipple shield for a prolonged time, or if you use a nipple shield right away, it doesn't matter how long you use it. But this is also how your child gets weans themselves. It seems to be they are weaning themselves, but it's not what they do. And let me tell you, you have early signs of breast refusal and weaning. Breast refusal often feels abrupt and emotional. Signs including crying, biting, hitting, or turning away from the breast. Natural weaning, on the other hand, is a slow, gentle process where children still show affection for the breast. That said, oftentimes children that naturally wean by, let's say, age 4, they will kiss your breast and say basically goodbye. They will pet your breast, and you will notice that they are so gentle and caring about your breast. And yeah, then they will stop more and more to nurse. And some mothers notice it really when it's already done, the whole weaning process. So they will notice she didn't nurse in a while. And then they figure out, oh, something is going on here. But it takes usually a long, long time for children to naturally wean. So that said, breast refusal is not your baby rejecting you as a mom. That's also something I like to mention, because oftentimes we as moms feel abandoned by our children, or if they bite us or if they hit us, we feel like, did I do something wrong? And when it comes to breast refusal, it's not your baby that is you rejecting as your mom. It's often their way of expressing discomfort or frustration. And because you are the mom, you are the main caregiver, you are the whole world for your child, they express it to you. You are basically the best friend, your best buddies, and you know what that means. If they come to you, they will tell you everything that sucks, everything that they are frustrated about. And it's hard. It's hard, especially when you are not in the right place and you feel like you've been rejected as a mom, or you feel like you did something wrong. So that said, let's get into when nursing strikes can happen, because I know a lot of you might think, I heard this story that if you introduce a pacifier by after 6 weeks, nothing can happen to me anymore, because they learned their sucking pattern on my breast and they will be fine. Let me tell you, no, that's not true. I know for some people it's maybe true, but for a lot of people it isn't true. And I'm here to tell you that, because I know a 7-year-old that started biting on the breast, and that's an early sign, by the way, for breast refusal. Started biting on the breast due to a sippy cup. A sippy cup. Who does not use a sippy cup? I don't use it because I know it. We never used it, but a lot of people do, or a straw cup. So all the things that basically if your child needs to create a vacuum to suck on it, you are running, well, basically you can run into issues with breast refusal, aka nipple confusion or bottle preference. So, but let's talk about nursing strikes. They can happen at any age, like I've mentioned, but are especially common around the 7 to 8 months. And from my perspective, I didn't do research on it right now, but when I think about the 7 and 8 months, it's like your child is eating, and a lot of parents overfeed their children because they feed purees or they offer too much food, and then basically the size of the stomach of your child is the fist size of your child. And oftentimes you will have some growing spurs, of course. I have a 2.5-year-old and she has some growing spurs. Sometimes it feels like she's eating all the time, but especially when you start introducing solids, and also, later on, it is important to watch how much you feed your baby. I should say how much you offer your baby, because your baby is feeding herself, hopefully. Because that's another episode, but I will tell you all the things about purees and why this is not the natural way for children in another episode. So let's get back. Why does breast refusal happen? When it comes to the physical and medical causes, overfull breasts in the beginning make it hard for babies to latch. So if you got infusions during birth, or someone Some professional will tell you that you only have to nurse your baby, have to offer your breast your baby every 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. Then it can happen that you have overfull breast, and this will make it hard for your baby to latch. Also, mastitis, blocked milk ducts, or slow milk flow can frustrate your baby basically. Teething pain, ear infection, or a stuffy nose. Of course, a stuffy nose is the worst, is the enemy of every breastfeeding mother. It's so hard for the babies and for children who are nursing. Yeah, nursing with a stuffy nose, it's like it's really hard for them and frustrating. And one physical or medical cause that is really dear to my heart are oral restrictions, like a tongue tie. I will also create another episode on that, but let me tell you, this is still a really big topic for everyone who never heard about it. Basically, the tongue is restricted, and it's not only about the tongue, it's also about the lip. But basically, the tongue is restricted in movement, and therefore, your baby has issues to empty your breast. And there are babies out there. Oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for the mothers. The nipple, it hurts. They make clicking sound. They don't sleep well. There are so many symptoms when it comes to oral restrictions. But here's the thing. A lot of professionals, so-called professionals, don't know how to assess an oral restriction. And that's the hard part. I know mothers who needed to see, three lactation counselor to find the right one that notice that their child has an oral restriction. Yeah. Let's move on to emotional and environmental causes. Like I've mentioned basically before, long intervals between feedings can frustrate babies. So don't wait 3 to 4 hours. It's really important that you offer your breast whenever your child needs your breast, because your breast is more than just for food. Food is important for sure, but it's also, they have this need for sucking, and sucking at the same time will help you with your milk supply. So it's important for you to put your baby on your breast, not to put a pacifier in your baby. Stress or overstimulation in mom or baby can also cause frustration on the breast. So if you are stressed out, mom, I don't know if you notice it. I'm so close to my baby girl. Baby girl is 2.5 years old already, but we're still so close. If I'm not in my high spirit, she isn't too. So, and with babies, it's the same with babies. If you feel stressed out, your baby is stressed out. They co-regulate basically with us. I have a fun story to tell that. I hurt myself. So I slipped on our porch basically. It's winter here. And I slipped on the porch and I hurt myself badly. But my daughter saw it and she freaked out right away because I was freaking out. And I've noticed it also with her dad. So every time he is worried about her, for example, she hits her head. It was not a bad hit, but her dad was like, oh my gosh, did it hurt? She freaks out. And I think, we could all tell some stories about that. So this is basically it. Your child is co-regulating with you. They watch you. They follow even if you don't show it on your face, the frequency that you are sending out is stress, and they will pick it up. What also, of course, environmental cause is pacifier bottles or nipple shields, and changing in routine like travel or separation. So if you change your routine, your child can also have trouble with that on the breast, and will show this on the breast. So let's talk now. Sorry, something is popping up here. Let's dive into the emotional toll on moms, because, like I've mentioned, stress is something that is for mom and baby really difficult. So breast refusal is stress. Breast refusal feels like rejection, stress, and will start self-doubt. And of course, at the same time, you feel the low milk supply, mastitis, or the baby going hungry. Maybe you think about formula. Now you have to feed formula because you are not good enough. But you're not failing. It's just a bump on the road, and we can go through it together. That's what I like to say to you, because I know we feel oftentimes alone. You feel maybe alone listening to this podcast. You feel like, wow, is there anyone out there that has issues? Because everyone I know is telling me, oh, they're fine. Baby is sleeping through the night. Everything is perfect. But no, they are all struggling. Let me tell you, we are all struggling. We are all sometimes failing, but the most important thing is, from my experience, that you figure out what's going on and get help. I get help too. If I don't know how to do it, I will find someone who knows how to do it. And that's something especially women should learn. I don't know what happened, but we women, at least the woman that I have around, that we struggle with asking for help. And for me, especially as a lactation counselor, it's breastfeeding and lactation counselor. I'm like, why are women waiting so long to come to me? I wonder about that. If you have an answer for me, please write something in the comment section about it, and I would love to read it, or send me an email. Because I know we wait so long, we try everything, and we think we have to figure it out all by ourselves. But that's not true. Or the next thing we would do is to go to a doctor. And I heard a lot of women who are going to the doctors, and then they are dismissive. They are dismissive, especially if your child is over 1 year old. They think, oh, breastfeeding, you don't need to breastfeed anymore. So they are oftentimes dismissive, and they are not the right professional. I know a breastfeeding and lactation counselor costs money. A doctor does it too, but yeah, you don't. Oftentimes, if you don't live in the States, yeah, if you live in a country where your insurance, where everything is covered, because you pay it by taxes, by the way. It's just you don't notice it right away because you don't have to have to pay it out of your pocket. I think you women out there, you hesitate even more to get help if you know you have to pay out of pocket. But breastfeeding is a huge thing. It's the legacy that it's the legacy for our children. We shape their well-being. And for me, that is mind-blowing. If you think about it, you shape their well-being, their health. And at the same time, you shape the health of your grandchildren and so on, because your child will pass it, if they breastfeed, of course, will pass it through their children and so on. So for me, that's a huge deal. Pregnancy and then breastfeeding is so much more. It's really about the well-being. And we are talking about the emotional well-being, the physical well-being, the whole thing. That's not only like, oh yes, child is a little bit healthier than other children. No, it's the whole real deal. Brain development, everything is tied to breastfeeding and nutrition in general. Yeah. Sorry, I got a little bit overexcited. I have to find back to the topic because I really love what I do. To finish this section, think about it, and if you need help, please look for a breastfeeding and lactation counselor. I offer my service worldwide because I know we are all in this together and we are all struggling, and sometimes we need help. So please get help if you are struggling, and don't wait too long, because you will make it harder on you. You will maybe, if for example, when we talk about clogged ducts or mastitis, if you start right away to talk to a lactation counselor, you find solutions and you don't need antibiotics probably. But if you wait too long, you need antibiotics and it will do something to you and will do something to your child and yeah, and so on. So get your help. I'm just here to say, get the help when you need it early. So let's move on. I like to give you now practical solutions for nipple confusion. The first thing is, the important thing is reconnecting with your baby. So get naked, skin to skin contact is really powerful. Try cuddling, share bath, or napping together. This is really helpful. Your child is smelling you and your breast. They can smell your breast, and this is also really crucial to know. They smell you, they co-regulate with you, and at the same time they find your nipple and they can latch. And in a really calm environment, for example, like taking a bath together, I did that back then with my daughter. It was so beautiful. I loved it. It helps really your child to get back to the breast. Also, I mentioned already the calm environment. Recreating a calm environment with soothing music, gentle humming, or white noise can also help your child. This one is really an important one. Try to nurse your child while your baby is drowsy, like during naps or bedtime. The reason for that, why oftentimes it works to get your baby back to the breast, is your baby is nursing more intuitive. They don't overthink it, basically. So now let's get to adjusting feeding practices. Offer the breast frequently before baby gets too hungry or upset. So don't wait too long. Nurse on demand. Get a baby carrier if you don't have one. Get a baby carrier. You can boobs out, babies in. They can nurse. It's really easy to nurse in a carrier if you don't know how to do it. I can show you it, of course, but I think you could also look it up on YouTube or ask someone who knows how to do it. But it's possible. So for everyone who didn't knew it was possible to nurse in a carrier, it is, and it's a great tool. Hands-free, boobs out. No one sees your boobs. You can still have visitors coming over if you don't like to have your boobs out all the time and for them to be around you. You can, and your baby is in the best spot ever. You also hand expressing a little bit milk to soften your breast and also to encourage easier latching might help. And the laid back breastfeeding positions to manage fast or slow milk flow. If the reason for your baby being frustrated on the breast is fast or slow milk flow, the laid back breastfeeding position might also. Yeah. This one is also an important one. The next one, I think that everything is important, but eliminate distractions and artificial suckers. Wean off pacifiers, bottles, and other artificial feeders. That said, if you need a bottle or if you like to have a bottle, get a spoon bottle. Look it up on Amazon, or not sponsored, by the way, but look it up or on Google, whatever. A spoon bottle is basically the bottle that the industry invented to feed purees, but I would never use it for that. That's really an awful thing. But it's a great tool to use to feed extra breast milk in case you need it, because your baby is not sucking on this spoon. Basically, it's licking out the milk like a kitten. You can also use cup feeding. Look it up on YouTube how to do that. Your baby is able to lick basically the milk out of a cup or out of the spoon bottle like a kitten. And this is breastfeeding friendly. It might takes a little bit practice, but I know not everyone knows how to feed with a bottle, and I know people who do it the wrong way. Let me tell you that. If you feed with a bottle, oftentimes you do it the wrong way because your child is just creating the vacuum and the milk is running into them and they get easily overfed. This is also why it is important not to use bottles. So what else do I have? Now I have to think about it. So spoon bottles or cups help to save basically the sucking pattern on the breast. It won't override it. To prevent future struggles, avoid long gaps between feeds. Prioritize skin to skin time daily to maintain a strong bond. Use a carrier, like I've mentioned before. Seek support early. If challenges arise, don't wait until you feel overwhelmed. And breastfeeding matters. It is, I told you, it's the whole package of well-being. It supports also the jaw development, the teeth alignment, and even better breathing. Because the way the jaw is developing, this creates also the breathing canals. So if you have a narrow jaw, you oftentimes have trouble also with breathing due to that. And if you use artificial suckers, they create narrow jaws. 40% of jaw development is genetics, but 60% is environment. And that's something you should keep in mind. Everything is in your hands. The whole legacy of your child. And why I'm so passionate, by the way, about it is because I had a pacifier. I was not breastfed, and my jaw is still too narrow, but yeah, a dentist worked on it, and now it looks perfectly fine and it's beautiful. But I had to get out my wisdom teeth, and this is also because my jaw was too narrow. And I know it is the same for many of you out there. And I didn't have oral restrictions, or I had oral restriction, I should say. I had an oral restriction, but technically I was able to put my tongue on my palate, but I wasn't able to do this until I got 37 because the pacifier pushed down my tongue and I developed a habit to leave it. Yeah, leave it on the bottom. And that shaped my jaw, created more issues. I'm glad I don't have breathing issues, but it took me 37 years to basically get back what should be normal. Yeah. So this is why I'm so passionate about it, because I was not breastfed. I had it all. And I try really hard to give the information out to you there, so you and your child won't run into these issues. Because despite the thing that everyone says, it's normal to have a pacifier, it's normal to have bottles, and it's also normal to have struggle with teeth alignment, and the dentist will find out how to do it and you will work something out. Let me tell you, it hurts. Changing the jar, the alignment of the teeth, it hurts. So I remember that I had a bracelets is called. So I had one. It was awful and I hated it. It was not fun. I'm glad that my teeth are now looking good and I like how my teeth are looking, but it was so painful and I try not to recreate this story for my child, at least. And I hope with this kind of information, I also help you out there not to create this story for your child. A high arch, narrow palate is not normal. So if you are struggling with that, you should also see someone who is trained with oral restrictions, like I am, because oftentimes dentists have also no clue, because oral restrictions needs extra training. So let me end this about oral restrictions here. You need to have extra, oftentimes international training to do the right testing, to know what you are doing, what to look for. Yeah. And most professionals don't have it. So last but not least, let's summarize it. Let's summarize everything you need to know now. If your baby seems to be self-weaning before age 2.5 or 7, it is not self or natural weaning. It's usually due to nipple confusion or bottle preference. main important thing is to remove all the artificial suckers, to replace them by something that's breastfeeding friendly. When it comes to bottles, for example, use a spoon bottle or a cup, and take one step at a time to do so. I know it is hard. I know, especially if your child is really frustrated on the breast, it is so stressful for you, mom. But get support. If you have family or friends who can take over your child for a while you take a shower or a nap, do so. It is worth it. You giving your child the best health, and it's a legacy for your whole family. So every drop of breast milk you provide is a gift to your baby, and you doing an amazing job. So don't be sad. You didn't know it better. I'm here for you, and I'm so glad that I hopefully could help you a little bit to figure out what's going on with your child right now. Yeah, I think that's it for today's episode. So thanks for bearing with me. I know I will get better by the time, but yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for being you, mom. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.